I'm going to introduce myself first. I'm Morgan McGee. I'm a Superstar Director for the Magnificent Superstars. We are out of everywhere. We literally have team members all over the country. We have a lot of military, so people all over the place, and it's really, really cool. But like I said, I live in Hazel Green, Alabama, near Huntsville, if you know where that is. And we have lived all over the place. This is just where we're currently at, which we hope to stay here. So let's hope that works out, but we'll get to all that. My story's pretty crazy. Our life is not normal. So what is normal though? I mean, let's be honest. So I joined Cincy in 2014, and I joined as a dental hygienist. I went to school to be a dental hygienist. I graduated when I was 20. I was so young. I was the youngest in my class when I graduated dental hygiene school, and I literally just chose that field because of the money. I mean, that's it. I chose the field because it made good money and it was a 2-year degree. That is why I went into that profession. That's it. So it's pretty wild. Like, I hated school, first of all. So I wanted a quick degree and I wanted to make good money because I didn't know that there was anything else out there other than going to college and getting a job to work for someone else. That was the thing to do. You were expected to go to college when you graduated high school and get a job to work for somebody else. And I thought that was success. I thought that was my idea of success. And I was one of the only person in my family who has graduated college. So I was very proud of that. And when I graduated, I immediately moved from my hometown in Alabama, 1,300 miles across the country, to Colorado Springs, Colorado, because I had recently got engaged and married to my now husband, who I've been married to for 9 years now. But we had just got married. He was in the Army. And so I moved there immediately, like literally the day after I graduated college. I moved there. And that was my first big step out of my comfort zone. Like, I don't guess I had ever really pictured what my future would look like as a 21-year-old. I was not even thinking about, like, where will I live after I graduate college? Like, where will I work? I won't make very good money here. Like, in my hometown, I would have made like $15-20 an hour. And I made $35 an hour working in Colorado Springs. So, but like, I had never really thought about, well, where will I live? Where will I work? Like, I guess I just assumed that I would stay there in that area and live life where I was raised. I had lived there my entire life, lived on the same street my entire life. I literally didn't know what was out there. I had been to like 2 other states in my whole life. So it was pretty crazy to do something like that and just up and move across the country. But that was my only choice. I married somebody who was in the Army, and I was like, all right, here we go. Let's do this. So I move out there, and I have to find somebody to be my board patient, because when you graduate as a dental hygienist, you have to go take your boards, and you have to be able to clean their teeth properly. The patient has to have, certain requirements. It's a whole thing. I didn't know anybody out there, so I literally had to find a random person on a yard sale page, or I found her on a military wife page. Went and met her, took her to take my boards, passed my boards. That was $1,000 that we didn't have. And so I got my license finally. So I started working as a dental hygienist in Colorado Springs. I worked in the field for about 2 years. Not even 2 years. About a year into being a dental hygienist, I came across Cincy. And we had 2 dogs. We have a Lab and a German Shepherd. I'm a huge German Shepherd lover. So our house smelled like dog, and we just had some candles, and that was all. And then we started using like Walmart wax and warmers, and somehow I came across Cincy, on a yard sale page or something, and I was like, that's expensive. That's out of my budget. We broke, but I found it on a yard sale page at a discount. So I bought my first Scentsy warmer on a yard sale page and bought some wax on a yard sale page, and I fell in love. So my consultant at the time, I had went over to her house to get my order, or I had found a consultant. I placed an order with her, and I went over to her house to get my order, and she was making samples, and I was like, oh, this seems so fun. And so I was that person who just was like, hey, I'm gonna join. I don't have a clue what this is or how to do this. I don't know anything about direct sales. I don't know anything about anything, but I'm gonna do this because I really love it, and we really need money, and I really can't afford to buy $50 in laundry products, but I really like these washer whiffs. So that's why I joined. I joined so that I could get product for free and half off. That's it. I joined on a credit card because we did not have $99 to our name. So I did that. I did not read my startup guide. That's literally all we had back then when I joined almost 8 years ago. All we had was that. We didn't have videos and training and all this stuff like you have when you join now. We had a book, and I didn't read it because I don't read. And I accidentally earned Shooting Star. Did I? Yes. Accidentally earned Shooting Star, and then earned Sensational Start Level 1 by accident also. And then I was mad because I was like, I ended up earning Level 2 of Sensational Start, but then I was mad because I didn't know about Level 3. Like, this was all accidents. I was earning all these things and didn't even know it. Then I accidentally earned a Cruise to Cozumel for leadership later on in 2015. Had no idea. Like, I was just sharing the products that I loved, and I was doing a lot of online parties. Like, that was all I was doing. I did some bag parties because I knew like 5 people in the area. That's it. So I was doing some bag parties, but I was mainly running my business online with online parties, and I was doing 8 to 10 a month. And that is what I want to tell you that you have to do to grow a successful business. 8 to 10 parties a month. I don't care what kind of parties they are. I don't care if they're a text party, if they're a personal shopping link, any kind of party that you can use to network and grow your business. Parties are the fastest way to grow your business rapidly. You're getting 10 to 20 new prospects at every single party. Where if you're just going out and trying to meet new people, or you're just relying on social media, which social media is fantastic to meet new people. That's how I've grown my business. And that's how I solely work my business. But parties are the fastest way to bring in lots of new people. So, party. You don't have to party like a mad woman forever and ever. Just build your business like that. But I was doing all these online parties. And so I was doing 2,000 PRV a month minimum from day one because I was partying, because I was sharing these products that I loved. And I think like one person in my family was buying from me. Like, everyone else was just new customers I was meeting through, I started with one military wife that I knew, and she did a party, and I met all these other military wives through that party. And then they knew all these other military wives across the country. And then they knew all these other military wives across the country. So it was just a trickle effect. I would meet somebody and they knew 20 people. I would meet somebody else and they knew 20 people. So that's how I grew my business. I told my husband when I first started Scentsy that I didn't want a team. I had no idea what it was about. Had no idea the lives that could be changed through this business, because I didn't know anything about direct sales at all. I didn't know I could make money. I literally did not know I could make money. And someone came to me and wanted to join my team, and I was like, no, you can join my sponsor. I tried to get her to join my sponsor, and my sponsor was like, no, she needs to join under you. And I was like, but I don't know what I'm doing. She's like, I don't care. She needs to join under you. Don't do that. So anyway, she joined under me. And that first team member is no longer with us, but my second team member is now one of my downline star directors. And I believe my third team member, I don't know if she was my third, she was one of the first few that joined, is now a star director in my downline. So it is insane to think about. But I said I didn't want a team. I told my husband, like, I don't want that responsibility. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to lead. Now we have over 1,800 people in our group. So it blows my mind thinking that if I would have been so selfish and said I don't want a team, how many lives would not be changed now? All these people in my downline who have quit their full-time jobs, who have found their worth, who have started believing in themselves. There's a car that's struggling outside my window, like their motor's about to blow. I don't know if y'all heard that. But all these people, I have people who have brought their husband out of work so that they could go travel the freaking world in a camper. These are the things that are happening in my downline, all because I decided to say, okay, I'll grow a team. And I had no idea that when I was joining Scentsy, I was doing this to become a leader, become an inspiration to people. I didn't know that. So, let's see. 8 months into Scentsy, my husband decided to get out of the Army, and we were like, let's just move back home to Alabama. So I was going to take a huge pay cut moving back to Alabama, and I was going to have to work full-time to match what I was making part-time there. And I was like, no. I'm in pain every day when I come home. My back freaking kills me, and I'm 22 years old. I don't enjoy my job because it's too repetitive. It's just the same thing all day long, over and over. I love Scentsy, so I'm not going back to work. I'm not doing it. We literally didn't even have I think it was $200 too to transfer my license from Colorado to Alabama that we did not have. And I was like, no, I'm not going back to work. Our family thought I was insane because we were struggling. When he got out of the Army, we were struggling. He had started a trucking company, and it was a struggle. We were struggling, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to match my dental hygienist income. I'm going to do it. So a few months later, I promoted to director. So within my first year of Scentsy, I promoted to director. 1 year later, I promoted to star director. 1 year later, I promoted to superstar director. So 3 years, I promoted to superstar director. All the while, we were moving nonstop. My husband was in trucking, so at the time we didn't have kids, so we had 2 dogs. We had our German Shepherd and our Lab, and we would go on the road. I would go with him to travel. They would go with us. We all lived in a semi-truck while we traveled, and just so that I could be with my husband, because we're best friends. We want to be together all the time. We're like attached at the hip still to this day. I wanted to be with him. He wanted to be with me. He didn't want to be gone over the road all the time and never see us. So we all went. And guess what? I took Scentsy with me. I sent mail from the road. We would find random drop boxes that I would drop mail in to send out. I would do Facebook parties from the passenger seat of the truck. I would do whatever I had to do. And I took it all with me. I remember laying in the sleeper of that truck, bawling my eyes out when I hit my director promotion. Just laying there with my husband saying, how is this happening right now? I'm literally working this business while traveling on the road, and I just promoted one of the highest titles in Scentsy. And I will never forget that moment. There was something special about that moment. I don't even remember where I was when I promoted to star director. I do remember where I was when I promoted to superstar director, because that was another life-changing moment. But that director promotion, I will never forget that, and the feeling I had and just the overwhelm that I felt with joy and this is happening and our life is about to be completely different. So after he got out of that, we moved a couple times. We were trying to remodel some houses that were our grandparents'. One of them was a money pit, so we just couldn't do it anymore. At that house, I had to sit in the kitchen window to work because I had no service, and it took a month to get our internet hooked up, so I had to sit in the window in the kitchen and work. I didn't have an office or anything like that. The house was torn apart. We had no ceilings. We had no floors in some rooms, but I was working because it was non-negotiable for me. I had a vision, and that's what you have to have. You have to have a vision, and you have to allow yourself to dream big and realize that anything that you want is within reach, but you have to go take it. And you're worthy of that. You're worthy of every bit of success you want to have, and every dream that you have, you're worthy of that. So, it's there, but you have to want it bad enough to go grab it. We have moved 8 times since I joined Scentsy. Totally all different cities, towns, whatever. We've lived in big cities, we've lived in small towns with no red light, we've lived in all the places. We've lived in houses that are torn apart, we've lived in nice houses. It does not matter. Your circumstances do not define you, and they do not control your business. You control your business. You have to figure out how to make it work every time you move. You have to figure it out every time life gets hard. You have to figure it out every time, you know, any life throws a throat punch at you. Life's always going to be hard. But you are doing this to create a better future for your family, and all of this, the temporary sacrifices you have to make are going to be worth it. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all, I talk for a long time, so y'all can just count on being here for a little while. I'm not like some of these other people who are blessed with the ability to talk for like 15, 20 minutes. I just can't do it. But after trucking and all that, we tried to remodel 2 houses. Both of those fell through. My husband was trying to figure out life. So we went through a bankruptcy, and we had to file bankruptcy because his business was just struggling. And so that was a whole thing. Our bankruptcy was finalized the month that my son was born. So that was like a new chapter for us, a new beginning for us. Such a relief. My son was born in 2017, and that was the year I promoted to Superstar Director. That was a very hard year. That was a very, very hard year for me. I was a new mom. I was struggling. I was struggling with postpartum depression. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know how to work my business. I was struggling with everything. But I still worked. I followed up with customers while I was nursing. I did Facebook parties at night after he was in bed. Or I did Facebook parties. I would have my mom come over and sit with him while I did a Facebook party, because my husband was working nights at this point. He was working nights. So I was pretty much by myself with my son for the first 8 to 10 months of his life. So when he was 4 months old, we moved. We moved out of town, an hour and a half away from family, and it was just me and him. And I was a Superstar Director with a little crawler and then a little walker, and we were just doing our thing, and I was doing the best I could, and I was still working my business. I showed up every single day for my business, no matter what it was, whether it was just following up with some customers, whether it was having some join conversations, whether it was parties. I didn't stop partying through all this. I found new ways to party. I have videos on my YouTube channel, recordings of Facebook parties where I was wearing him in a carrier while I was doing a Facebook party. Because we do what we have to do when this business is a non-negotiable for us. When we are serious about building a better future for us and our family, we will do what it takes. So if you find yourself struggling to show up for your business every single day, you're not dreaming big enough. You're not allowing yourself to dream big enough. You're lacking the internal motivation that you need. Motivation does not come from an outside source. Motivation does not come from me. Motivation does not come from your upline. Motivation comes from right in here. It comes from dreaming big. It comes from being so desperate for a change for your family that you will do whatever it takes, and you will show up even when it's hard. I don't want to work every day of the week, but I do, because I know if I don't get paid, my family doesn't get fed, our bills don't get paid, and we won't have the freedom that I've created for us. So, to go back a little bit, after my son was born, we were by ourselves for a long time. My husband came home to work. He actually started his trucking company back up, He drove some, but he was mainly at home dispatching trucks. So he had multiple drivers at that point. It became very, very, very stressful. Stressful financially. His company was bringing in the money. Bringing in the money like you wouldn't believe. But they actually weren't making money. It was all outgoing. Like, it was crazy. His mental health was awful. It was just not worth it anymore. And so by then we had moved again, and we were just like, okay. So at that point, he was so stressed out, and he ended up taking over something that his stepdad was doing. His stepdad passed away in 2019. 19? Yes. And he kind of took over what he was doing. So at that point, he became a contractor. He was doing glass, like shower enclosures and all the beautiful glass showers you see that are like flawless and just so pretty. That's what he was doing. Well, then he ended up getting a contract with Home Depot, and he took over four Home Depot stores here in our area. He was the contractor for them installing doors. He did that for a little while. It got, again, it was too much on his mental health. He had no time in the day. He was having to deal with a bunch of bull crap all the time. It was just not worth it. Again, it was not worth it. And by then, I was making a consistent average of $10,000 a month. And so I was like, listen, you're quitting this job. You are quitting this job, and we are going to bring you home so that you can see your family and take care of your mental health and finally not be stressed for the first time in our entire marriage. This man had worked himself to the bone and still was so stressed out because it was never enough. It was never, finances were always a stressor. Like, I was like, we're done with this. He came home last year and was a stay-at-home dad for a little while. He took over some of the household duties. He finally had some time to actually do basic tasks that normal people can do, like mow the grass. He just felt so free for the first time in his life. He's worked since he was like 15 years old, maybe younger. But for the first time in his life, he could take care of his mental health. He was happy. I had never seen him so happy. It makes me emotional every time I think about it, because I had literally never seen him so happy in our entire marriage. So I brought him home. Well, we had been in our rental house for 3 years that we were in. That's the longest we've ever lived anywhere. It was really starting to feel like home to us, and then the homeowner decided to sell. And the market here is insane. Can't blame her. She's gonna make some money off of it. But we were like, well, we're not quite ready to buy a house yet. We really don't want to pay $2,000 in rent, because rent has gone up tremendously since we had got that house back a few years ago. The market's just insane. And we were like, well, we're gonna stay with my mother-in-law temporarily till we figure things out, because we only had a few months. We were like, what do we do? So in January we moved here, and we don't even have our own house right now. So I am working on a custom office. Me and my husband are working on a custom office for me. So I'm currently working in our bedroom, which is very crowded. This is about how much room we have in here. My computer is on top of a PlayStation 5 box, and all of my stuff is out in the garage, and that's how I've been working. So there's that. I'm a superstar director running a multi-million-dollar organization from my bedroom, in the bed, in the floor. So I have worked in all the places that there are to work, and it has not stopped me. So I'm a big no excuses person. I don't do excuses well. If you have an excuse, then that just means to me that this business is not a priority for you. And if it's not, that's fine. This business is not for everybody. But you have to figure that out. You have to figure out, do you want a better life for your family, or do you want to sit in excuses all the time? When you could be using that energy that you're putting into coming up with all these excuses to bless somebody with these products, to bless somebody with this business opportunity. So, I don't know. My story is just a story of, we had a vision for our life. We wanted freedom, and we have now created that. I work when I want to work. I work how I want to work. I plan my business around our life. I make appointments that need to be made whenever. We go on vacations whenever we want. I literally do whatever I want to do. That is what I wanted. I learned really fast that I didn't want to work for someone else. I wanted to be the boss. And I saw opportunity in this business. I saw that people were making upwards of $100,000 a month in this business. And I was like, I would be an absolute idiot if I did not build this business. Like, I bought my husband his dream truck last year. We are going to buy me my dream Range Rover Sport, hopefully this year. That's the plan. We're going to buy a house. We came from a bankruptcy where we lost everything we had. We lost our house. We had a $315,000 house in Colorado that was gorgeous. It was our first home. We custom built it. We had BAH from the Army, so that paid our mortgage. We had that beautiful house. I had a Lexus IS 350. It was my dream car at the time. My husband had a nice truck. We had 2 crotch rockets. We loved to ride. We had all these things that we worked for, and we lost every bit of it. And we had to rebuild our entire life. So back in 2017, I was able to buy my current dream car back then, and that was a 4Runner, limited 4Runner. Brand new, bought it brand new. I still have her. She's the most trusty vehicle, and I just love her to death. And I bought my husband his dream truck last year. He had never had the new truck. He had never had the truck he wanted. He had never been able to just go hand pick the truck he wanted, much less a $90,000 truck. And then he got to go put the rims he wanted on it. He got to put the tires he wanted on it. And it didn't matter. We did it because he wanted it, because it made him happy. We didn't have to look at, oh, well, we don't have the money for that. No, we were sick of that 7 years ago. We were sick of saying that. We couldn't travel when he was in the Army because, for one, he was tied down to the Army. We did good to be able to even go see family at Christmas time. But we didn't have the money to travel, even if he would have had time off. We didn't have the money to travel. We couldn't do anything. We rode crotch rockets because gas was so cheap, and that was our only hobby because that's all we could afford. We had to buy helmets off of Marketplace. We had to buy we bought our gear on credit cards that we didn't even ever pay off. Like, it was a hot mess. We couldn't even afford to take our dogs to the vet. We had to have a care credit card. Now I can take my dogs to the vet, pay cash. I can pay cash for doctor's visits, whatever I need to do. Like, can you imagine that? Can you imagine that kind of freedom and being able to just pay for what you need for your family and put your health first and prioritize those things? Buy groceries that are healthy for your family instead of having to go add up the stuff that you put in your cart and your phone calculator like I used to have to do. Now I can go buy what I feel is most healthy for my family and pick the best choices, and I don't even have to look at the prices because I made temporary sacrifices and I did not let my circumstances define me, and I didn't let my temporary feelings control my 10-year dreams. So you have to dream big. You have to have that internal motivation, and that is going to come from dreaming big and being desperate enough for a change for your family. Now, we're getting all these things that I wanted to be able to say yes to my son. Because I heard the word no so many times growing up. I couldn't go on these cool vacations like Disney World that other people were doing. I couldn't cheer on the all-star squad that I wanted to cheer on. There were a lot of things I couldn't do. My mom was a single mom. My dad passed away when I was 9. My mom was a single mom. She did the best she could, but I heard no a lot. And that is why I am building this. That is why I'm building wealth for my family. It's why I'm building a legacy that I can leave for my family. You know, and it's not about the money. Yes, I make great money. Yes, I made $15,000, almost $16,000 last month. It's not about the money. It's about the freedom and the happiness that that money brings. When you have freedom, you have happiness. So, I'm telling you, it may be hard. It may be hard right now. And it's never going to be easy, but it'll get easier. You may be you may be having sleepless nights. You may be having to work after bedtime. I've been there. You may be having to work while you're at your job. You may be having to do coaching calls while you're in the car. You may be having to work from the car rider line because that's the only time of the entire day you have. You may be having to listen to trainings, but I still do this. You may listen to trainings while you're doing the dishes or taking a shower. Like, you have time, but you have to create it. You have to find it. But it may be hard right now, but I'm telling you, it will be worth it. When you are dreaming big and you can make those dreams a reality for your family, it's so worth it. I cannot stress enough how worth it those temporary sacrifices are. So be willing to work the hard hours so that you can create the easy hours. Be willing to put in the work. Be willing to make the temporary sacrifices to create the long-term vision. Our goals now is to buy a house this year, probably sell it in a few years, and build our dream home on our dream acreage. And I want a beach house. I want a beach house either in Gulf Shores or Florida. I want to, that's going to be another stream of income for us because we're all about multiple streams of income. My husband's a disabled veteran, so that's an extra stream of income we have. Now he is farming, so that is another stream of income we have. We have me, and then we're going to create other streams of income. So that's going to be one of them. We're going to buy a beach house. And that's going to be rented out throughout the year. And then when we want to go to the beach, we will use it. Or if I want to use it for a leadership retreat for my leaders, I'll use it for that. But that's going to be an extra stream of income for us. You know, and I didn't even talk about that. My husband has now found his dream job because I was able to bring him out of his last job and actually give him some time to reflect on what it is he wanted to do with his life. And like what his true purpose is in life and what would make him happy. And he got to choose this job that comes with flexibility, because the only way he was going to get a job for somebody else was if they would agree right off the bat that he's getting vacation for the incentive trips we go on, for SFR, for leadership, and a family vacation in the summer or whenever. Those were his requirements, and they agreed to that. You don't find that very often. But those were his requirements. They agreed to it. He was able to take his dream job because he had that time to reflect on what it was he truly wanted to do. And for the first time in his life, he got to take a job solely off of a passion he has. And it didn't matter what he made. It's just extra. So for the first time, he got to take a job that wasn't like, oh, well, that's not going to make enough money. Or this or that. He took the job because he loves what he's doing and he has a passion for it. And that is what I've been able to do, and that's what I wanted for him. That's what I wanted to create for him. He's a worker. He's not going to just sit at home at 31 years old for the rest of his life and be a house dad. Like, he's just not. He's a hard worker, as am I. I choose to work my business 5 days of the week, but I only work from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the absolute latest. And that's taking breaks in between, doing household things. Like, I choose to work that way. That's the beauty of Scentsy, is you get to choose to work however you want. And another thing I wanted for my family, I wanted to be able to put my son in whatever sport he wanted to be in and not have to worry about the cost. I wanted to be able to put him in a private school if we wanted to. I wanted to be able to pay the child care that was best for him and not stress over that. And we've been doing that since he was 2 years old. I wanted to be able, he's in baseball now. We're thinking about putting him in a travel ball academy. These were things we could not do as kids. We couldn't do these things. And we wanted to be present for him. We wanted to be at every practice. We wanted to be at every game. My husband is the coach, one of the coaches now. How cool is that? Because he has the time and the freedom to do that. So this is what we've built for our family, and it's beautiful, and it's complete opposite end of the spectrum from when we were in a bankruptcy, struggling to buy groceries. I remember sitting at a truck stop. And it was either, I think it was 2015, because that was when he got out of the Army, and it was a very, very, very hard year for us. Sitting at a truck stop, and my annual sales award and annual mentor award bonus hit. We were currently sitting there trying to figure out how we were going to eat. And that bonus hit right then. That was God. But I remember that moment, because that was like a life-changing moment for me, realizing like, this is real. This is going to change our life. Because I had a lot of people that didn't believe in me. But you know what? I believed in me. My husband believed in me. You don't need anybody else to believe in you other than yourself. You need to be your biggest cheerleader. Because if you're self-sabotaging and you've got your mind filled with negativity, you're never going to get anywhere. You're not going to grow. You're not going to build a business like that. You be your biggest cheerleader. You believe in yourself until everybody else believes in you. You believe in yourself. You build that business. You show people what you can do with this business. And guess what? They don't have a choice but to believe in you at that point. Numbers don't lie. I had people that thought I was absolutely crazy for leaving my dental hygienist job because I made good money and were asking when I was going to go back to my job. Like, sorry, I'm not happening. But they didn't see what I saw. They didn't see what my husband saw. Luckily, I had him on board with me. I know some people don't. You just have to believe in yourself until they see it. Your husband wants to see numbers, honey. He wants to see money. He wants to see money rolling in. He wants to see you helping with the bills. He wants to see you paying for the date night. So, just dream big. Dream big. Believe in yourself. Be your biggest cheerleader. And have the discipline to show up for your business every single day. Because guess what? This is not about you. It's about your family. It's about helping people build a business of their own like this. It's about blessing people with our bomb products. It's about showing other people what's possible. It's never about you. It's never about you. So, I think that's all I have for y'all. I hope y'all feel inspired. I'm sorry I had to swap the comments away, but if I would have had them up, I would have been on here for 2 hours because I would have been like, oh yeah, stopping nonstop to reply to y'all. But I love y'all so, so much. And thank you, Brittany, for starting this group. So I'm Brittany Bartow, Superstar Director, and she is one of my best friends. She's precious. I love her so much. I'm so thankful Scentsy brought her into my life, but I just wanted to thank her for setting up this group and for asking me to be on here. It's never a question in my mind for me to come on here and speak to y'all about anything inspirational. But yeah, go change the world, go dream big, and go build a better life for your family. I love y'all.